Will foraging improve your health from a completely unbiased source? I'm not a health expert, but I'm interested in it, and I have tried to teach myself and understand. I think we all know that the health of Americans is awful, and we're awful at treating it. And as crazy as it might sound, I think foraging is actually a great tool to improve health. Our food supply seems poisoned down to the roots. The healthy stuff is the most expensive, but most basic. You'd be better off growing a garden, but even domesticated plants are less nutrient dense than wild equivalents. As the breeding selects more for quantity than quality, the former is easier to judge. If you can find a handful of wild green species in your area, it's very easy to hardly ever buy greens again. And that's what I do. I use chickweed, wild lettuce, wild mustard, etc. Tea too. I make tea out of yopon, juniper, countless other plants, and even sweet tart drinks like sumac-ade. It's very easy to gather enough sumac fruits to make it for a year or a couple days of gathering and processing. And replacing fruits is also fairly easy, especially if you have any wild plums in your areas or blackberries. There's countless others you can learn to harvest and dry, can, preserve. Nuts too. Walnuts and hickories go largely unused. They're so abundant. Nuts and seeds are some of the most nutritious foods on the planet. They make up maybe a third of my calories. I have a box full of gallons of dried fruits and nuts. I use them for smoothies every single day. Obviously, for the average working person, you may only have time for a few of these, but I think if any bit you can supplement your diet is going to be great for you, and not just because of nutrition. Just getting outside has enormous health benefits. The sunlight exposure, especially all the infrared being reflected by green plants, is great for you, and it regulates so much of your body's systems. We're like the first terrestrial creatures ever not beholden to light cycles of our environment. Getting exposed to a diversity of wild microbes is, I think, also a great way to improve your microbiome, which has a much lower diversity in Americans than in more agrarian cultures. The microbiome has been greatly underestimated in importance, but remember, there are far more microbe cells in your body than human cells. You may just be a vehicle for the microbe ecosystem to thrive. You can literally be controlled by your gut microbes, like eating a lot of white bread explodes the population of that microbes that feed on that, which in turn sends signals for you to eat more. And getting out, you'll walk more too, you crouch, reach up, hike, bend down, etc. Just getting in lots of different movements regularly is ideal. And it's also a wonderful way to stimulate your intellect. I find I get enthralled with the process, and every bit from observing nature, identifying species, evaluating their state in tissues, and processing natural materials are all such primal basal activities that our minds are designed to be fascinated by it. And it's the infinite challenge of learning, since nature is infinitely complex. You may even find certain herbal remedies that directly address health conditions. I always struggled with falling asleep, but an infusion of wild lettuce is a great help with that. And I always carry yarrow to poultice small cuts and wounds, and I prefer it to any modern wound care. A decoction of juniper is great for coughs, and there are countless other minor cures that I use regularly, and it's so satisfying to be able to do this and not pay a cent. The forest Potawatomi claim that all their native plant foods are also medicines that will maintain the health. And I think that idea is becoming more popular in modern culture. So I'm not going to proselytize and say you ought to forage for your health, but you can achieve all that without it. But if you think that you might like it, I don't see how it couldn't potentially improve your health in some way. I actually would prefer to live in a healthy society, and I think that the work I do does contribute to the good of humanity in some way. And if not for health, at least you'll survive the apocalypse or the next big recession, and who knows, maybe even impress someone you like. Foraging is just kind of universally cool to know. The monkey brain is just like, ooh, food, good. Anyway, if you never tried, think about it. There's countless resources online these days, and anyone can learn. All right, take it easy, y'all.